Destiny builds come and go, with some being exceedingly strong for just a season, like a flash in the pan. The build we're looking at today is not one of those builds. In fact, the exotic has been in the game for over 3.5 years and still stands as one of the best hunter builds in the game. This build has lasted the test of time. Remember to leave a like if you find this video helpful, and if you like seeing build videos and other Destiny 2 helpful content, consider hitting that subscribe button. With that being said, let's jump right on into it. Today, we're looking at the infamous Omnioculus build. This build has stayed strong for two main reasons. First, invisibility. With this build, you can use your powered melee to make you and your team invisible. By slamming into the ground, you create a smoke cloud that will make you and any nearby allies invisible. In most content, you're running with at least 2 teammates. And with this exotic, you get refunded 50% of your melee for every teammate that you make invisible. So you'll be fully refunded just for making your team invisible. This is incredibly powerful in high-end content like Grandmaster Nightfalls, letting you sneak on through any skippable areas. And the second reason this build has stayed so strong is the power of weakening, and moreover, Tether. We of course love seeing builds like Celestial Nighthawk that can one-shot champions, but Tether has always been and always will be one of the most powerful supers in the game. Not only are you providing the largest debuff in the game with 30% weaken, but with Tether, you can lock down an area to rapidly take out enemies and disorient them. With Tether, you create a void anchor that has a fairly large range, and any enemy that is close enough will not only take that 30% weaken, but will also be suppressed and unable to shoot you. Tether will also share 50% of the damage from one tethered enemy to another. This means with this build, you provide immediate safety with invisibility, a ton of ad clearing potential, ability to lock down rooms, and even shred through bosses with the Tether. So let's dive into the build and break down how it works. For this build, we're taking Deadfall Tether. This form of Tether not only has a shorter cooldown, but also lasts for a longer time, which is very helpful in nearly all scenarios. As for the abilities, I'm taking Gambler's Dodge, so that we can dodge near enemies to get our melee charge back. We're of course taking Smoke Bomb since it is our only option, however it is the key to going invisible and staying invisible. For grenades, you can take whichever one you like best, but my personal preference will be the Vortex Grenade. As for the aspects, the big key to making Omnioculus work for you is to bring our first aspect, Trapper's Ambush. Now your smoke bomb will make nearby allies invisible. You can also activate Quickfall while in the air to dive back to the ground, instantly making anyone nearby invisible. Keep in mind that this does retain the ability to weaken and disorient enemies. So if you need to have a way to easily weaken an enemy, you can use one of your melees, but the main purpose is to have them in your back pocket for safety. And with our second aspect, we take Vanishing Step. Now dodging will make you invisible or extend the timer of your current invisibility. This, paired with the 2 melee charges and Gambler's Dodge, means that you have 4 melee charges of invisibility ready to use at any given time. So for our fragments, we take Echo of Persistence, now making your void buffs last about 50% longer, meaning you'll have more uptime on your invisibility and Devour, which we get from our next fragment, Echo of Starvation, so that picking up an Orb of Power will give you Devour. Pretty simple, but with Devour, we gain health and grenade energy by getting kills, which just keeps us healthy and lets us put out more damage. Then I take Echo of Vigilance, so that killing an enemy while at critical health will give you an overshield. This fragment is a bit slept on, especially in high-end content. This overshield has saved my life so many times and can give you just enough time to pop invisibility and get to safety. For the last fragment, you have a few options. Personally, I like Echo of Cessation, so that we can spread volatile with finishers, and killing a volatile target will create a void breach. Alternatively, you could take Echo of Remnant so your grenades last longer, or Echo of Obscurity to always have a way to go invisible. So the gameplay loop goes like this. As your team approaches a section where you want to skip, activate Quickfall or throw a melee at your feet to make you and your teammates invisible. Keep an eye on your timer, and right as it runs out, activate it again. We wait until our team is just coming out of invisibility, since if your team is already invisible, you won't be refunded melee energy for making them invisible. For normal areas, I like to play as normal, using my weapons and my grenades from cover. We want to play as a safety net, so that we can easily go invisible for rezzing teammates. And keep in mind, if your teammate is in a bad spot when you res them, you can quickly make them invisible right after rezzing to help you both get to safety. So when it comes to improving the build, for our stats, I like to take 100 resilience. In any endgame activity, this is a must. And after that, I like to shoot for about 70 in both discipline and strength. Both are important, but aiming for 70 means we can keep some of our other stats like intellect and recovery pretty high, since all of these stats are very important for high-end activities like Grandmaster Nightfalls. As for the armor mods, first up for our helmet, I am taking a siphon mod that matches our primary weapon. I like to create as many orbs as possible to feed back into our super and some of our other abilities. So matching a siphon mod to your primary weapon means that you can generate a ton of orbs for you and your team. I then take ashes to assets so that grenade kills will give us extra super energy. And I also take dynamo so that dodging near enemies will give us 2.5% energy for our super. With both of these, we can help feed back into our tether, which is really strong for GM level content. As for the gauntlets, I'm taking firepower so that our grenade kills will spawn an orb, and orbs will feed us super energy, but also more ability energy to consistently have that invis at our fingertips. I then take momentum transfer and bolstering detonation so that grenade damage will give you 12% to your melee and your class ability. We will be using both very often, so this just helps generate more ability energy overall. As for the chest mods, I'm taking 3 resistance mods. Since this is for GM level content, you'll have to match the activity that you're in. If there's a threat, then it could be good to account for that. Or if you're facing something like a Hydra, you could take void resistance and concussive dampener to help counteract that damage. When it comes to the leg mods, we get a ton of damage resistance by staying invisible. So we take recuperation so that we can gain a bump in health by picking up all of those orbs that we're creating. And then I take invigoration so that orbs will now give us 10% to our melee, which pairs well with orbs of restoration so that orbs will also give us 10% to our least charged ability. Obviously, melees are the main goal, but this does help in case you have both your melee charges already in your pocket. As for the class mods, I'm taking bomber so that we get 12% grenade energy whenever we use our dodge. I then take powerful attraction so that we can pick up any nearby orbs, which will feed back into our abilities and start devour. And finally, I take utility kickstart so that when we use our gambler's dodge to get back our melee, our dodge will also be refunded based on how much armor charge we have, up to 34%. When it comes to the seasonal artifact, since we are on the void subclass, the main ones we want to take are void hegemony so that we gain an overshield by killing a weakened enemy, and expanding abyss so that we deal increased void damage to weakened targets. And if you plan on using a sniper, feel free to bring sniper's meditation to gain that added 15% weapon damage. When it comes to weapons, this build is all about using your abilities and staying alive with invis, so weapons don't really factor in. That means you could bring champion weapons like Outbreak Perfected for shooting through barriers, or snipers like Still Hunt to put out massive damage, or even Edge Transit to take advantage of expanding abyss from the artifact. It really is up to you on what weapons you want to bring. So there you have it, Guardians. We've covered a build that gives you and your team an immense amount of survivability with invisibility, and a ton of ad clearing potential with Tether as the super. But I have one question for you. Have you thought to yourself, hey, I have a build that is way better than this one? Well, soon I'm starting a series where I'll be showing off viewer builds. Everything from the most busted and meta builds to goofy interactions that give you that spark of joy. If you're interested, there will be a link to my Discord in the description, where you can submit a build of your own and have a chance to be featured in one of my videos. If you found this video helpful or just enjoyed seeing a new perspective, feel free to like the video and comment down below what you might change or how you'd improve the Omnioculus GM build. Keep an eye out for future videos as we continue to explore the ever-evolving world of Destiny 2. Until then, may the threads of fate be ever in your favor. This is Lucky Mech signing off. See you on the next adventure, Guardians.